Welcome to Rev.io Product Catalog and Products. To view the products that you will be selling to your customers, you'll navigate to Settings and then Product Catalog. And the product catalog is just the listing of all of the billable products or non-billable products that you sell to your customers. Anything that you need to see on the customer account or to bill to the customer would be listed here. Products in Rev.io can either be recurring products, products that bill the same thing consistently every month, or they can be one-time products that bill out one time and then don't bill again. You'll see the list of all of the products in your product catalog when you're looking at the product catalog view. You can also filter on active and inactive products. You can filter if you're using GL code on that field. You can filter by service type if you have them restricted, by provider, by product type, anything like that. You can keyword search here and it will pull up a product for you to see, and you can view your products that way. We're going to go ahead and add a new product to Rev.io, to our product catalog. And by default, it's going to check that this product is active. If you don't want to make this product active or viewable to be added to a customer yet, you would want to uncheck that box and then go back and edit the product and make it active when you're ready for it. So the first thing you're going to do is put a description on your product. This by default is what's going to print on your customer bill. When you add a product to a request, it does give you the option to override this, but you don't want to necessarily have to override it every single time you put it on a customer, if you can at all help that. So we'll call this one the Voice Essential Seat License. And then you'll select your product type. This one's going to be a recurring VoIP product, and you'll select that here. And you will have already configured your product types. There is a separate video playlist on terminology in Rev.io where you can review what a product type is, and there'll be other videos for how to set up product types as well. But notice that when I pull in the product type, it automatically brings in the tax class that is associated with that particular product type. Products in Rev.io will tax based on the product type, unless there is a tax class override at the product level. So you could choose to override this and select another tax class here if you were advised to do that by your tax compliance partner. So in this case, instead of using the tax class that is associated by default to the product type, I clicked override and then selected the tax class that my tax compliance partner advised me to choose here. Just make sure that you understand the taxing implications of adding products to the catalog, and maybe keep that restricted in permissions to only those people who understand the taxing implications so that you don't get into a bind there. The next thing you'll do is select your provider. We're going to say that this is a Verizon product here. If you want to use code 1 to put in a product ID or some sort of SKU number, you can do that. The only time that code 1 and code 2 are used for any specific purpose is if you have configured any auto provisioning through Rev.io to like an AT&T or something like that, where the system is auto provisioning to that partner, then these fields are reserved for their use. But if you're not auto provisioning through Rev.io, then you can use this. If you had a SKU number, you could type that in here. The also apply to field applies if this were a free minute product, which this is not, so I'm just going to skip that one. You can configure products to be free for a certain period of months. So for instance, if you got the first 3 months free on this product, you could populate a 3 here, and then the first 3 times this product bills, it would bill at 0, and then it would pick up and bill at whatever the rate is set on the product. Automatic expiration, on the other hand, would cause this product to stop billing after a certain amount of months. So if you were doing a rent-to-own type of situation for some form of equipment, and they were going to make payments for 24 months, and then they would have fulfilled their commitment there, you can say that after 24 months, this product would automatically expire. Bill every Typically, you're going to leave this as follow bill profile, but if you have, which means it's just going to bill monthly, but if you have a situation where it's an annual product, you could say bill every 1 year, and then the system would know to just bill that product once a year. If you're using something like this annual product, you do have to know that the price, when we move over here to the pricing tab, you have to configure the price in the monthly increment. So if you have a annual price of $120, you would need to make sure that you set up the price on this one at $10 so that over the course of 12 months, it would bill $10 12 times and your total would be $120. And then behind the scenes, Rev.io will calculate that amount every month. And then when it gets ready to bill it again, it would then calculate that up and bill it, add it up and bill it for the annual rate. GL code is set up here. If you want to add GL codes to your product so that you can report off of it, you must set those up, and those are set up in Settings and Drop-Down Editor, and it's called Product GL Code. And if you set those up there, then those general ledger codes show up here so that you can choose that. And then when you do your reporting out of Rev.io, if you add that field, that general ledger code would show on your reports. This is optional, you don't have to use it. And then you have some options here for how to bill. Typically, it's going to bill according to the bill profile. If you typically bill all of your customers in advance, so on June 1st, you're billing for the time period of June 1st through June 30th, and most of your products bill in advance that way, but you have one product that bills in arrears. You could override that behavior on a product by product basis, and then this one product could bill in arrears, whereas the rest of your products could bill in advance. And then you also set up right here whether this product prorates on Connect or not. You can just turn it on or off. If this product is supposed to prorate when you connect it, then you would do that here. Currently, prorates on disconnect are set up at the bill profile level. And then you have the option for creates order and order completion billing. And this is important because it controls how and when this product is going to bill to the customer. So if I've selected a recurring product type here, I only get the option for whether it creates the order or not. And by a very large margin, recurring products, you're going to want them to create an order. And the reason for that is that in Rev.io, the behavior is that the product will start billing once you complete the order and give it that order completion date. Then that sets the activation date on the product, starts the billing process, and prorates the charges based on that date. If you don't create an order on a recurring product, then it's going to immediately start billing. There's no gate between adding that product to an order and the product starting to bill on the customer and the activation date. If you don't want that to happen, and again, most of the time you don't for recurring products, you're going to want to set that to creates an order so that you have control over when that product begins to bill and when it activates, the activation date that gets set. So again, typically for recurring products, you're going to have it create an order. If I were to choose a one-time, I'll just choose one so I can show you what it does. If you choose a one-time product type, so if it was one-time hardware or whatever that was, then this opens up and you get the choice here. So you can choose to have this one-time charge create an order or not. And then if it does create an order for a one-time product, you can tell the system whether you want it to wait to bill that product when the order completes or whether you want to bill it immediately. So if I don't have it create the order at all, then that just means that when I add that one-time product, it's immediately going to go onto the account and put that charge on the customer's account. And that may be what I'm trying to do. So if you don't have it create the order, then it's just going to bill that charge immediately, which may be exactly what you're intending to do. If your customers are ordering a large amount of hardware that you need to deliver to them, and you're going to incur the cost right away, let's say it's $5,000, and you want to go ahead and bill your customers up front for that even before the service is active, then you've got two ways you can do that. You can either turn off the order and then the charge would just show up immediately with no order. Or if you need it to create an order so that you can then swivel chair and provision that equipment or whatever that one-time charge is for, you can have it create an order, but then you can turn off the order completion billing. And so what that does is it means it's going to create an order that you can then swivel chair and provision through whatever vendor you're using, but it's not going to wait to bill until the order's complete. It's going to bill it right away. The other option is maybe you want this one-time charge to create the order and then bill right along with the regular MRCs when the customer is activated. And if that's the case, you can click the order completion billing, and then when the order is completed, it will start billing. So again, you get this option when you choose a one-time product type. So if this were a hardware piece of some sort, again, you can decide whether you want to bill it right away, in which case you have two options. You can either not have it create an order at all and just bill immediately, or you can have it create an order and then you can decide whether you want to bill it when the order is completed or whether you want to bill it right away. If you find that your charges are not generating when you want them to, or if they're generating too soon, just put in a ticket with us and we can help you look at these settings and we can help you tweak this to make sure that the system's doing what you need it to do. The next tab we have here is pricing. And so on the pricing, the first thing you see is the pricing model. It's going to default to per unit, and that's sort of normal pricing. We also have something that we call smart pricing, where you can do tiered pricing or volume pricing. I'm not going to go into that in this video. There'll be a separate video for smart pricing where I'll talk about those things. So per unit just means that all of the units are priced the same rate regardless of the quantity. So in this case, let's say that my Voice Essentials seat license is $12.95 per month. It's going to be a charge. You can also create recurring credit products. You could use that if you want to specifically show on the customer's bill a discount that's happening every month. So if they were to get a product for $12.95, but you're giving them a $2 credit every month, you could set up the $12.95 product as a recurring charge and then come back and set up a recurring credit product for the $2. And if you put both of those products on, you can configure it so that they see both of those items on the bill and they physically can see on the bill that they're getting that $2 credit. The other option is obviously just to create the product at $10.95 or override the price when you're putting it on the customer as $10.95. But then they don't necessarily see that credit. It's there. It just isn't pointed out on the bill. Either way, you can also track the cost of your products. So if you wanted to put a product cost in here, this is what your vendor is charging you. Let's say they're charging you $9.95. Then you could put that in there, and then you can report out on the cost versus the rate and look at your profitability on reporting in Rev.io. I'm going to do a separate video on restrictions, so you'll be able to watch that video next. The same thing for inventory. I do want to take a peek over here on the advanced tab. You can use a wholesale description if what you're calling the product is something different than what your provider's calling it, and you need to track that. You can always put that in here. The only other thing that you need to look at on this one is particularly if you are using commissions, this sets whether the product is commissionable or not. If it's commissionable and spiff commissionable or bounty commissionable, you would leave those checked. It does default to that. If this product is not commissionable, then you would want to uncheck those boxes there. The rest of this, you don't need to worry about. It just shows the order in which the products display. Tax included is 9 times out of 10 checked at no. We tax on top of the product amount. We don't want to back into that unless there's a special reason for that. So this should remain no as well. No usage, no bill. That just means if this product is on there but there is no usage of it, then you don't want to bill it. You can set that up. Most people don't use that functionality as well. If you think you need either of these items, you'd want to talk to your representative with Rev.io and make sure that that is set up correctly. You can put a long description in here if you need more information for your team when they're adding this product and they want to look at the long description. During onboarding, your onboarding team can talk to you about this taxation surcharge ratio. That just means that the ratio is multiplied by the transactions quantity in order to calculate that surcharge surcharge quantity for taxation purposes. If you're not using that, it will be blank, but your onboarding team will guide you how to use this setting if you need to use it. Commodity code is another, it's sort of a variation on general ledger code. You can use it for whatever you choose, but typically people will track that in that GL code at the front tab that I just showed you. If this product were included in any product groups, you would see that here. And if it's supposed to be tied to a certain usage plan or usage rate, then you can tie that here. Most people choose to use this at the service level and they don't tie it to a particular product. Again, if you need any of these advanced settings, you'll want to talk to your representative here at Rev.io, either your onboarding project manager or solution analyst or your client success representative. And then the last thing I'll point out is that if you have any custom fields, those would show up here on the additional fields tab. In this case, I don't have any configured, so nothing is showing here. I'll change this back to recurring VoIP, and then we'll save this. And then I can go over here and search for essential. And here's the one I just created with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and $12.95, and it's a recurring VoIP feature. The other thing I'll point out is if you sell this product from multiple providers, you'll want to create one instance of this product for every provider. And you can go over here to options and copy, and then you can just change the provider, take off the word copy, and save that. And so now you have the Verizon version and the Global Crossing version. Someone had created this one earlier, but in this case, Verizon and Global Crossing. You'll want to do that for your order splitting. You don't want to have one product that you can sell from 5 different providers because you're going to need to control the activation date on the order. So you're going to need your orders to split based on the provider. So if you're ordering this from Global Crossing and the rest of your products are Verizon or some other provider, you're going to want the products to split so that you have control over activating the order. You get one order completion date for everything that's on an order, so it needs to split by provider so that you have control of that. The other thing I want to show you about these grid bars in the product catalog, or really anywhere in Rev.io, is that if you click once on a field name, it will sort. So if I click on description, it's going to sort in alphabetical order, lowest to highest. If I click again, it's going to sort the opposite way, so highest to lowest. But any of these fields you can sort. Once will go low to high, the second time will go high to low. So it's a good way to kind of view things in general. And if you need to export your product catalog, there is a way to do that. You can export it to Excel or CSV right from here. So that's the product catalog and products in Rev.io. Thanks for watching.